Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Dark Wolf's Den radio show. If you would, please stand or at least put your hand over your heart for the playing of the Star Spangled Banner.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's get this party started.
Unlocked and into the dark. Some things are better left unknown. And I'll never find you here, 'cause no one's ever is clean, she's a sneaky hider. Hide the lies and the alibis. Oh, what a sinner. Is it in her? What's the truth in this riddle? Is love really just this simple? I can't seem to find my way in this world that never stays. What a widow, a peaceful spider. When the glass is clean, she's a sneaky hider. Hide the lies and the alibis. What a sinner. Is it in her? Is this real? Just illusion? I'm lost in the wonderland of confusion. I'm lost in the wonderland of confusion. Is this real or just illusion? Manifestation or a dark delusion? Is this real or just illusion? I'm lost in a wonderland of confusion.
Ripon Rabbit Hole is a community-driven radio. At times the community comments may reveal prejudices and other beliefs that we or our sponsors do not condone. Views or opinions expressed by the community, callers, or guests, are those of the individual speaking and do not represent the views or opinions of this site. Ripon Common Sense content is intended for mature audiences only. Enjoy.
Coming to you from a secret cave, hidden deep within the wilderness. This is the Dark Wolf's Den Show. Now, here is your host, Jerry Hicks.
That's right, I am Jerry Hicks, also known as the Dark Wolf, and we are broadcasting live from a secret cave, hidden deep within the wilderness of Tennessee. That's right, we're ripping through the electromagnetic soup, we're tearing through the atmosphere, and we're tunneling away into your radio like a quantum particle. This is the Dark Wolf's Den radio show for Wednesday, December the 29th, 2021. So whether you're on the edge of a reality, the edge of the galaxy, or the edge of your seat, we're glad you chose us to be right there with you. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we are going to do one last state of mystery for the year, and that is, of course, going to be the great state of Missouri. That's right. From cryptids to ghosts and everything in between, we've got a killer pile of paranormal tonight. And we're going to get to all that and more here in just a moment. But first, let's see who all we have over here in our YouTube chat rooms, both on the Dark Wolf's Den Show YouTube channel, as well as the Ripon Rabbit Hole. How you guys doing over here tonight? Like Terry Taggart says, about time the weekend started. Haha, I agree, Terry. About time indeed. Have you guys had a long week? I hope you had a wonderful, wonderful Christmas. I know I've had an absolutely fabulous one with my family. It's been a great time. We're here to kick off yet another holiday weekend. My Life DIY says weekend time. Woohoo with a party. Moji there, glad to see you, My Life DIY. JoJo's waving in over in the Ripon Rabbit Hole chat, as well as Sandy B. Says, hey, Jerry. Hey, Sandy, glad to see you. Hola, fellow humans, says Bill Knight. Great to see you, Bill. Yeah, I know you're in England. I do appreciate you putting up with our national or nationalities there as we start the show. Do appreciate your patience there. Maggie's Ace says, hi, everyone. Hey, Maggie's great to see you. Yeah, in my heart, his move, says Bill. Yeah, I think a lot of us can claim the heart being in a different place than where it is now said to be. Raider Champion in the room. Great to see you, Raider, of course. Our good friend there and host of the Tuesday night videos. It's wonderful to see every last one of you guys in the Ripon Rabbit Hole. And over in the Dark Wolf's Den Show chat, JoJo's waving in. My Life DIY says Play Ballas presents. So I think she's saying she'll be here, but she's listening on the way. Glad to have you here, My Life DIY. Creepy Little Book, our buddy Pete. Glad to have you along for the ride, my friend. Always a pleasure to have you around. If you guys don't know, check out the Creepy Little Book YouTube channel. He does some absolutely incredible work over there. If you like this show, you're definitely going to like his work. And Michael Fontaine hanging in also in the Dark Wolf's Den Show chat room. Once again, hope everybody has had a wonderful holiday season so far. We're almost done with the holidays, but of course we got one more holiday weekend to go, the weekend of New Year's, right? Kicking it off right as best we can. And whether you are listening to us hanging out over there in the YouTube chat rooms, or on Ripon Common Sense Radio worldwide on the RiponRabbitHole.com, or even on demand, we're glad to have every last one of you guys along for the ride. That's right. Also, before we do dive deep down into the paranormal abyss that is the state of mystery of Missouri, we of course have two more fun little segments to do, the first of which we call Today in History. this day in 1908, a patent is granted for a four-wheel automobile brake. The person that was granted this patent was from Clintonville, Wisconsin. That's right. And that is today's segment of Today in History.
Say what?
Our quote of the day today, folks, comes from Ralph Waldo Emerson. He says, and I quote, "Do not follow where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path at all, and leave a trail." End quote. I gotta say, those are some really wise words to live by, especially in this day and age. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that is today's segment of
Say what?
And perhaps one of those trails that you leave might lead you into the mysterious state of Missouri. And if you do find yourself on a trail in the state of Missouri, do make sure that you watch out for the cryptids. Here to tell us about tonight's cryptids in Missouri is our old friend Ben Miller. Welcome back, Ben. Tell us about the mysterious creatures that roam this land, my friend.
Starting off, we are going to talk about a creature that really fits with the Bigfoot theme, but it is different enough that I'm not sure if you can classify it as a Sasquatch. This would be the famously named Momo, which stands for Missouri Monster. First sighted in the early 1970s, most describe it as a typical Bigfoot, but it had long shaggy fur all over its body, in which it almost completely covered its face. Yet the fact that this creature had piercing, glowing orange eyes was a feature that was hard to miss.
The shaggy hair, I can deal with that. That one really isn't out of the way for me with a Bigfoot. I would expect them to be shaggy if nothing else, right, guys? But what does get me is these glowing orange eyes. You don't normally see this particular feature or aspect among pretty much any cryptid, let alone these Bigfoot, Sasquatch type cryptids. Red glowing eyes, maybe, something like that, but we don't ever really hear of an orange glowing eye. So there is one unique aspect of this particular creature.
For years, locals heard the high-pitched screams that sounded like a woman in distress emanating from the nearby forests.
Yet another strange aspect of this case file is most of the Bigfoots that we hear about have a howl to them, not anything like a female scream.
Then in July of 1971, two women named Joan Mills and Mary Ryan were planning on having a picnic and had turned down a dirt road off of Highway 79 looking for a picturesque spot. Finally, they found a clearing where they laid out their blanket and baskets full of food. While enjoying their lunch, both women suddenly caught a smell that immediately turned their stomachs. Originally, the women thought that they were smelling a skunk, until Mary noticed something odd in the nearby weeds. Joan turned around to see what Mary was looking at, and there stood a massive ape-like man standing in the high weeds, and it was so tall that it was staring down at the women. Joan stated it made a gurgling noise, like someone was trying to whistle under the water, as it stepped out from its hiding spot and proceeded to walk towards the women. Joan and Mary quickly ran to their car and locked the doors. The creature then followed them to the vehicle and placed its hands on the hood before then trying to open the door by using the handle. Terrified, the women realized that Joan had left the car keys in her purse, which was currently sitting at where the picnic was. By accident, Joan's arm hit the car horn, which immediately startled the creature. Thinking this was a good idea, Miss Mills continued to honk the horn, but it didn't take long before the beast realized the sound wasn't a threat.
And clearly this creature had quite a high level of intelligence, not only by the aspect of knowing to try to use the handle to open the door, but also that he realized very quickly that the horn was no threat at all. So it may be ape-like and not, able to use a smartphone. Heck, maybe it is. We don't know. But it definitely shows very high signs of intelligence.
The women watched as the monster went over to the picnic baskets, picked up a peanut butter sandwich, sniffed it, and then devoured it in one gulp. The creature then picked up Joan's purse, but threw it away when it realized it wasn't food. After a while, it lost interest and sauntered back into the forest. Joan took that moment to quickly run out, grab her purse, and drive away.
Sounds like a logical move given the circumstances, but as wild of a case file as that was, it wasn't the only sighting of Momo.
Then on July 11th, 1972, in the town of Louisiana...
Wait. You mean there's a city called Louisiana, Missouri? Wow, I just learned something new, ladies and gentlemen. How about you? See, these case files can teach you even more than just about cryptids. It can teach you of places you've never heard of before. I know I've never heard of Louisiana, Missouri, but if you're listening, shout out to you guys over there in Louisiana.
2 kids named Terry and Wally Harrison were playing in their yard when they decided to check out a nearby rabbit pen. It was at this point that the Harrison boys' older sister named Doris, who was in the house at the time, heard the boys screaming. She looked out the bathroom window and saw a 7-foot-tall, black, hairy creature with a round head like a pumpkin standing by a tree near the boys. It was noted that the being's fur was covered in blood, and it was carrying under its arms the dead body of a dog it had recently killed. The boys managed to escape, and the creature vanished back into the woods. Then on July 14th, the children's father and local preacher, Edgar Harrison, heard something throwing rocks at the town's Model Reservoir. Not long after, he heard the sound of a deep growl, and it appeared to be coming closer to him. Edgar wanted to stay and see what was making the noise, but his family pleaded with him to drive away, which he reluctantly did. The family and the residents of the town spotted or smelled this creature many times over the next couple of days. One of the final reports came from a man who claimed that while he was parked by the road, the same creature came out of the woods and managed to pick up the back end of his car. For some unknown reason, something spooked the being, and it let go and ran back into the forest.
Among the other aspects of this case file that we've heard so far, I would like to point out that this is one of the most aggressive Bigfoot cases that I have seen. Not the only aggressive one, don't get me wrong. I have heard a couple where they've been this aggressive, but not normally this blatantly out in front of humans. There is one other case file in Alaska, Portlock, Alaska, as a matter of fact, where they actually ran the entire town away. The entire town was a cannery town, and they just up and left because the Bigfoot messed with them so badly, right? So again, it's not the first time I've heard of such aggression, but it is pretty rare still amongst the majority of the case files that we do find. Most tend to be much more shy, reserved, and hidden, as we know, as we have heard across most of the states in which we have discussed Bigfoot. But Bigfoot's not the only cryptid creature in Missouri, is it, Ben?
Leaving the hairy humanoid topic, I want to talk about a few aquatic creatures. The first doesn't have a name, but we will call it the Chariton River Frog Monster. Take this with a grain of salt, since news articles of the time were known to post questionable write-ups when times were slow.
And unfortunately, this is a well-known practice. Some small towns would write questionable articles at times in order to try to falsely drum up business. Thank God our media isn't that dishonest anymore. Oh, wait a minute. They don't just do it randomly anymore. They do it all the time now, don't they? Anyway, tell us about this frog monster, Ben.
This story was published in the La Plata Republican newspaper on April 16, 1920. According to the story, in the town of Elmer, on April 12th, a group were out in the river just enjoying their time watching the ducks. One of the group, named Harry, watched as the creature emerged from underneath a group of ducks and swallowed them whole. Not much description was given, other than it had a massive mouth, looked like a frog, and had huge saucer-shaped eyes that were almost 3 feet apart.
Now think of how big this creature would have had to been to not only swallow up a group of ducks, but the eyes were 3 feet apart. I'm only 5'9", so the eyes were so far apart it would have taken up, what, 2/3 of my body? Really? That had to be a gigantic frog.
Another man named simply Hop was out wading in the water when it is assumed he came across the same creature.
Wait. The guy's name was Hop. Are you serious? He reported a giant frog and his name is Hop. Okay.
Hop refused to talk, but he came back to town disheveled, with his clothes torn up, was wet and covered in mud, and appearing terrified.
Did he croak shortly thereafter? Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, okay. Seriously, if this creature is real, this is got to be super frog. So stay out of the lakes of Missouri, as you might run into super frog. What do you guys think? Go ahead, put a 1 in the chat room if you think this is a legit case file. Go ahead, put a 2 in the chat room if you think this might be just a little bit of a hoax. And put a 3 in the chat room if you're actually unsure either way. Come on, the guy's name was Hop. Anyway, while we're waiting on that, Ben, do you have maybe something a little more credible along the way of case files, sir?
Our next story appeared in the Hawarden Independent newspaper on September 19th, 1895. According to the story, there is supposedly a lake serpent in Mud Lake near the town of St. Joseph. On September 14th, Anderson McCoy, who was the brother to a local police officer, had reported that many fishermen, including himself, had encountered the serpent. McCoy stated that on many occasions, fishermen caught the creature in their nets, only for it to escape by tearing a hole in the net large enough that a horse could fit through it.
That has got to be either one really big creature or one creature with a really big bite. Either way, both sound like very scary propositions.
While Anderson was on his boat hunting for ducks, something violently hit his craft, sending it flying 10 feet in the air. Once he gained composure, he saw the serpent swirling around in a circle not far from his boat. The man was unable to get a good look at the creature, but it was apparent that it was extremely large. Over the next few days, the serpent again rammed Anderson's boat, as well as other fishermen.
And unfortunately, that's all we have for that case file. It kind of abruptly ends there. I don't know if any action was taken or what the case may be. Perhaps that was the beginning of Jaws, right? Maybe that was the inspiration for it. Of course I joke, but we know sea serpents are not a first time thing here. But let's see what you guys said about Super Frog. Remember, it was 1 if you think the Super Frog story was absolutely real, 2 if you thought it was perhaps a hoax, and 3 if you were on the fence. Let's see what you guys had to say. Terry Taggart on the fence. I kind of expected that one. Our fellow open-minder there. Always on the fence about this. Don't blame me. Terry Taggart backing it out with a 2. Says probably a hoax. Raider Champion with a 3.4. Definitely unsure. Errol Taylor with 3. Glad to see you, Earl Taylor. Sandy B with a 2.5. Probably a hoax. Still maybe a little unsure. Bill Knight on the 3 with the unsure. Terry, 3 or 2. So Sandy, I'm going to take the last answer given with the 2, the corrected answer. It looks like JoJo's over in the Dark Wolf's Den Show chat room with the 1s across the board. My Life DIY says 1. By the way, this is Gracie. Great to see you, Gracie. Glad you are here with us also interacting. I don't know about you guys, but it seems to me these trails in the mysterious state of Missouri are filled with some strange creatures indeed, from Momo to a possible super frog and even the sea serpent. But there's yet another type of cryptid that roams the lands of Missouri.
Moving from the waters, we are taking a look at a recent sighting that is really odd. There isn't a lot of information behind this that I can find, but apparently in June of 2015, a family from Columbia were taking a vacation in Shannon County. The family were driving down a road towards Blue Spring Trail when suddenly the mother, named Sarah, spotted something in the forest. She asked her husband to stop the car, and she described seeing a large dark figure standing on the forest floor. It was described as appearing bat-like, but it was 7 to 8 feet tall, had a triangular face, dark leathery wings, and yellow eyes.
And I'd also like to give a quick shout out, Juanito, hanging out in the chat room, and I missed Mr. Philip Blair there. Glad to see you, Philip. And one thing we have come to learn throughout this State of Mystery series is the West Virginia Mothman type creature wasn't a one-off thing, right? We've come to learn that this bat-like creature exist in a multitude of states, mostly in the East and Midwest, it seems. But we are seeing a growing number of cases of these creatures, more than just the one in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, right? The one most everyone knows about. So I find this case file incredibly intriguing, mainly for the fact that it's a creature that matches what we've seen across these different states. A bat, the height being 7 to 8 foot tall, the leathery wings, the yellow eyes. Again, we have these independent reports from across the country, across these different states, of this same type creature. How many independent reports of people that don't know each other and have never met does it take to start to wonder how real these particular creatures are? How many grains of sand does it take to make a beach?
Sarah claimed that the creature just stared at the family, and its glances made everyone feel uncomfortable. Most people claim this is a bat squatch, but this sounds completely different.
And yes, the Bat Squatch is a real case file, just not one that we've gotten to yet in this series. But make no mistake, it's coming up sometime next year. This is basically the cross between a Mothman and a Bigfoot, for those who are wondering. Again, we'll get to that much later on in the series.
Now we end our dive into a state's cryptids with two dog-like beings. This first one doesn't have a name, and the person reporting it was actually looking for help with uncovering the identity of the being.
And of course, we also know, for those that have been following the State of Mystery series here on the Dark Wolf's Den, that the Dogman has been a creature that we've seen in a number of states also, right? So we're seeing a pattern, of course, among a multitude of these cryptids among these various states. Dogmen becoming much more frequent as we go on also, it seems, right? Like the one here in Missouri.
The story is that 25 years ago, a group of family members were playing in the woods near St. Louis when they came across a strange entity. As they watched the being transformed, the word used was manifested, into a big black dog that was thin and had short black hair. The oddest feature was that it had some type of crescent moon looking object on its forehead. The author rightfully thought that the story was probably made up, but he later found out that on separate occasions 6 other people have seen the same being. The story seems odd, but if it is real, I'm at a loss.
Well, that one's simple, Ben. One of them is a werewolf, right? One of them ain't telling the truth. But seriously, I'm with you. That is quite a strange case file indeed. Tell us about the other Dogman case file, Ben.
Finally, the next dog creature is known as the Nixa hellhound or booger dog. Sightings for this creature are sparse, but it apparently was first seen in the town of Nixa. Most encounters are fairly brief, but it is described as having the body and size of a deer, but it has a dog-like head.
The body and size of a deer with a dog's head. This is definitely one of the most strange mutations I've heard of in quite a while. And perhaps it's not a mutation at all. Perhaps it is a dog creature of some type. What else you got on it, Ben?
I really looked hard into this creature, and I found more details that says it has yellow eyes, large ears, and its fur is black. I normally don't do this in these type of videos, but I'm really confused as to if this is an actual sighting or simply a hoax that has grown a life of its own. The booger dog name is given in relation to an interesting folk story that emerged from the Ozarks.
And we know folk stories and myths, if you will, tend to hold more truth than they're ever given credit for. And before one wants to laugh about that, remember the city of Troy was found using only the clues in the supposed myths. So there could be a lot more truth to myths than a lot of people want to give credit, or as some call it, folklore.
The legend goes that a man was being haunted by a giant black wolf-like creature sneaking into his pastures every night and killing his cattle. So he decided that silver bullets would be the only way to kill it. He melted down watch chains to make 2 bullets and waited for the creature to return the following night. As it began to kill his cows, he fired the gun and managed to hit the wolf in the shoulder, which caused the creature to charge at the man. The second shot was fired and it pierced the wolf's heart, killing it. The man ran out to the field to get a better look at the creature and found it to be a gray-haired woman in a wolf's coat. Since that story, booger dogs were a name given to human shapeshifters. So maybe this was the beginning of skinwalkers.
Indeed, it very well may be. And ladies and gentlemen, that was Ben Miller, the Ben Miller YouTube channel. Make sure you go check them out. He covers a variety of paranormal just like us. Appreciate it, my friend. And ladies and gentlemen, of course, we have to go ahead and take a network break right here. So my name's Jerry Hicks, also known as the Dark Wolf, and you're listening to the Dark Wolf's Den radio show on Ripon, Common Sense Radio Network, the Ripon Rabbit Hole. We'll be right back with the second half after these messages. Stick around. Don't touch that dial. That's right.
We gotta stoke the fires and run off the men in black. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back.
Oh yeah, that howl means your holiday weekend has begun. Hi everyone, it's AJ the Ripon Rabbit. Are you enjoying tonight's State of Mystery for Missouri with Jerry Hicks and the Dark Wolf's Den radio show? I know I am. If you are and you haven't done so already, please make sure to thumb up the video, hit that subscribe button, and ring that bell. You'll get our notifications every time we go live. Now, it's come to our attention here that YouTube has been doing some very strange things with our subscribers. So also, as you thumb up that video tonight, just make sure that you are, in fact, indeed subscribed to the channel, because for whatever reason, they don't want us to have any more subscribers than what we already have. Hopefully that will change in 2022. Speaking of the end of the year review, tomorrow night, Thursday Night Live, Dark Wolf's Den radio show. Join Jerry as he goes backwards and reviews the end of 2021 and all the year that it's been. So out with the old and in with the new, literally New Year's Eve predictions show live New Year's Eve. Jerry Hicks and myself will take to the airwaves in the most incredible predictions show of the year. Friday, December 31st. New Year's Eve starts at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central, as all shows do, including the traditional carrot drop. You won't want to miss that as we ring in the New Year's together with you. And then Saturday night, January 1st, 2022. It seems like such a long way away. We will literally ring in with the new as we bring in the new year together with you Saturday night, January 1st. And then the most exciting interactive family game night on radio, Beat Eugene, the first of the year. The first Sunday of every month takes to the airwaves Sunday, January 2nd, 2022. Will you beat Eugene, or perhaps will he beat you? And if games are your thing, you can hop on over to the Ripon Rabbit Hole and join Raider Champion with Tuesday night videos Tuesday, January 4th at 7 p.m. in the Backstage VIP Chat Lounge. It's going to be a lot of fun as Raider will be presenting the TNV Year in Review, exploring music and videos from the past TNV shows of 2021. It's going to be great. I look forward to joining Tuesday, January 4th. We'll return back to the Dark Wolf's Den Show and State of Mystery from Missouri for Wednesday, December 29th, 2021. You're listening to the Ripon Common Sense Radio Network, the Ripon Rabbit Hole.
If you were meant to be controlled, you would have come with a remote, but you didn't. And that's why you listen to the Dark Wolf's Den Show. Now, here is your host, Jerry Hicks.
That's right, I am Jerry Hicks, also known as the Dark Wolf. And welcome back to the second half of the Dark Wolf's Den radio show for Wednesday, December the 29th, 2021. So whether you're on the edge of a reality, the edge of the galaxy, or the edge of your seat, we're glad you chose us to be right there with you. Ladies and gentlemen, so far tonight we have covered a number of crazy cryptid creatures, from Bigfoot-like creatures to sea serpents, and even possibly a bat squatch or a mothman bat type creature. A lot of strange already in the trails of the state of Missouri, and we're not done yet. We have so much more to go, like the paranormal ghost files of the state of Missouri. What a strange state of mystery it's already turned out to be.
Spook Hollow Road.
I'm going to go ahead and fair warn you guys right now, this case file gets a little bit dark.
Spook Hollow Road in St. James leaves town going south and cuts through a thick area of forest. This is one scenic route you probably don't want to take at night. Those who have braved a midnight drive down this ominously named road have reported the air getting strangely hot, odd winds, and children's screams believed to be the spirits of those used for satanic rituals. As if that's not enough, there is also a cemetery tucked away out there, and surrounding it is the legend of the Goat Man, who has been seen among the headstones as well as stalking the surrounding forest.
There we go, guys. Not only an incredibly creepy past, but also the cemetery being there doesn't help. And last but not least, we get a twofer with this one. Not only do we get a creepy case file, but we also get a cryptid sighting of the Goat Man. And one thing we've also found across this State of Mystery series is the states that have these haunted colleges. It seems like every single state has a haunted college, right? As a matter of fact, one of them, and Lord help me, I can't remember right off the top of my head which one it was, had the most of any state we had done so far, right? Well, Missouri actually tries to match them really closely, as it also has a number of haunted colleges.
Kemper Military School. Kemper Military School in Boonville was built in 1844 and seemingly holds spirits of the many cadets throughout the years.
And though our first on the list of colleges tonight, it is not the first military college that we have heard of being haunted, is it, guys?
Staff and visitors have reported phantom orders being shouted, the feeling of being nudged or pushed, and disembodied footsteps, sometimes many marching in sync.
And it sounds like what we have here are two separate types of hauntings laid upon each other. What do I mean by two separate types, as we heard a multitude of different things there? Well, most of those could be attributed to the stone tape theory, of course, as we know, where things are just being replayed over and over, as well as one being an active haunting to some degree, the energy of being pushed for whatever that may be.
Several approaching the building report seeing a mysterious figure in the upper window staring out at them. Lastly, a ghostly cadet can be seen jogging her rounds every night on the bridge and is believed to be the victim of a grisly murder. Several have tried approaching and even talking to her, only to have her vanish in front of their eyes.
And as we know, high emotion, high trauma, murder usually definitely lends to an active haunting and even an interactive haunting, as we see in this and many other case files. But like I said, that is not the only haunted college on our list, just the first one.
The University of Missouri. The University of Missouri in Kansas City was built in 1929 and is the perfect school to attend, especially if you have an interest in the paranormal. Activity is said to stem from the Epperson House, a historic residence on campus. Students around the area report ghostly lights floating across the grounds, shadowy apparitions that follow people to their cars at night, otherworldly winds coming out of nowhere, and strange noises as if something is following.
I don't even know what to make of that one. That's quite a strange case file. It almost sounds dark and demonic to a degree, but it doesn't interact so much as make noise and a feeling or a sense of being watched and followed. Right? It doesn't actually interact to the degree of being seen or anything like that. So very strange there indeed.
The house itself is said to hold the spirits of the previous owners. One a musician who likes to play ghostly melodies in the middle of the night.
You know, now that I might not mind. I wouldn't mind going to sleep to some kind of melody like that, right? Definitely not a negative ghost there, in my opinion. One that I could absolutely deal with. How about you guys?
Webster University. Webster University in St. Louis was established in 1915 and is home to several haunted hotspots on campus that make it perfect as our runner-up. In Loretto Hall, students report extreme cold spots, chills for no reason, and evil-sounding disembodied whispers. These are believed to be related to a ghostly nun who has been sighted here and has even been known to angrily chase those who cross her path.
JoJo's says haunted high school is also Roosevelt High School in St. Louis. So there's one that didn't quite make the list, but an honorable mention for sure.
She is considered extremely dangerous.
So this one definitely is an interactive haunting, a nun nonetheless. Haha. Anyway, yeah, bad joke, dad joke, right? Anyway, guys, very, very dark sounding entity there too. These colleges seem to have a lot of negative energy there. Maybe too much trauma from tests, right?
In Maria Hall, an unknown entity causes banging sounds at night, objects to move on their own, and disturbing images to appear suddenly in mirrors.
And that would clearly classify to me as poltergeist activity, no doubt. So these colleges, these haunted colleges in Missouri, seem to have some very, very dark spirits to them for some reason or another. It also mentioned earlier the possibility of satanic cults in the area. Perhaps the amount of satanic cults in the area is a little more than just that case file. At least that's my opinion. But let's see what else Missouri has to offer.
Missouri State Penitentiary.
So it seems that we are out of colleges for Missouri. So for those counting, that makes 3 haunted colleges in the state of Missouri. Quite a few for one state, right? Not the most, but quite a few. But the penitentiaries are just as scary.
The Missouri State Penitentiary in Jefferson City was built in 1868 and easily takes number 1 on our list today. Once dubbed the bloodiest 47 acres, it's no surprise many souls here are still serving time from beyond the grave. Multiple paranormal investigations have yielded terrifying results, including blood-curdling cries coming from empty rooms, doors opening and slamming on people, and objects getting lobbed across rooms by invisible hands.
And a penitentiary is, of course, one of the most perfect places for the recipe of a haunting to exist. High emotion, high trauma, high energy, usually of a negative sort, though not always, but definitely high energy, high trauma, high emotion in these prisons every single moment of every single day. So I would not be surprised at all if any other states on the list, and I would be surprised if there were a few only states on the list that had haunted penitentiaries, right? As we know, that's not the case. But this one definitely has a negative poltergeist interactive haunting going on for sure, right? Wouldn't you guys agree?
On several occasions, guards that were by themselves have been locked in cells until later discovered calling for help.
Okay, so for the skeptics, I'll go ahead and give it this one. Maybe the guard wanted a nap. And if those were the only pieces of the case, maybe, but there's so much more, and already so much that we've heard about this penitentiary, right?
Also reported are sinister entities wearing prison jumpsuits that have been known to scare, chase, and even injure any who cross their paths.
So here is something that we don't normally see in the general paranormal haunting case files is the ability to interact directly with matter. And as a matter of fact, in most case files we found, when someone walks up to the entity, it just vanishes into thin air. It's quite a rarity that these entities can interact at all with you and me, with real matter. And in this case, these entities, for whatever reason, strong enough and have enough power to do that. And usually the only time we find that degree of haunting energy is either a negative poltergeist or even demonic activity, unfortunately.
Lastly, the spirit of a ghostly guard has been sighted performing his nightly duties and has even been known to come to the aid of those who encounter the less friendly presences.
Well, at least there's a positive energy there somewhere, keeping some of the negative energies in check, at least to a degree. So it really does make you wonder if over on the other side things are lived out over and over as maybe a teaching moment or a punishment. Whoever knows what the case may be, but it's strange that you have almost the same type of interactions as you would in this world over in the other world, which is another reason that I also say that consciousness, souls, spirits, and ghosts are all one in the same entity, the same form. Regardless, it seems that a ghost tends to keep the personality of the one that they held in the life. So when interacting with you, you're truly interacting with them, their spirit, we call it. But I mean, what is the difference between their spirit and their consciousness aside from matter, right? I think we would all agree we feel like something inside of a meat sack looking out through its eyes. But anyway, to whatever degree that may be, before we get too philosophical, ladies and gentlemen, that is the crazy paranormal state of mystery of Missouri. And I must give a quick shout out to the Speakeasy channel. We also use their work a lot here, and definitely if you're interested in ghost stories, check them out. They have a large variety over on YouTube. So shout out to the Speakeasy YouTube channel. We appreciate you letting us use your work. Also, and ladies and gentlemen, what do you guys think? Do you think that the state of Missouri, with its Bigfoots and its sea monsters and its super frogs and the Batmen and the variety of haunted colleges and penitentiaries, do you think that this state qualifies as a state of mystery? Or do you think we're barking up the wrong tree? In the end, ladies and gentlemen, all you can do is look at the evidence, apply a little common sense, and you be the judge. we got to close it out. That's right, that's it for this episode of the Dark Wolf's Den Radio Show for Wednesday, December the 29th, 2021. So whether you're on the edge of a reality, the edge of the galaxy, or the edge of your seat, we're glad you chose us to be right there with you. Ladies and gentlemen, the den may be closing now that we've kicked this holiday weekend off once again the right way. But don't you worry, the weekend fun has only just begun. That's right, make sure you tune in to the Dark Wolf's Den show and the Ripon Rabbit Hole tomorrow, Thursday, December 30th, 2021, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central, as we discuss the year of 2021, a year-in review special that is going to cover everything from celebrities that we've lost during the year to the amazingly crazy news stories that have happened in 2021. If 2020 was bad, 2021 said, hold my beer, right? And we're going to go over all the craziness of this past year, more craziness than even I realized, on Thursday, December 30th, 2021, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central. All shows here on the network start at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central. Like our show on Friday, December 31st, 2021, 7 p.m. Pacific, once again, 10/9 Central. We are going to do the special New Year's Eve Carrot Drop episode where AJ and I get together and discuss last year's predictions and whether they were bonks or dings, and make new predictions for the new year. And if you would like to also be a part of that show, make sure you go to the riponrabbithole.com. That is RIPONRABBITHOLE.com. That's right. Over there, you're going to scroll down to the very bottom of the page and find a big red record button. Go ahead and hit that button and tell us here in the studio what your New Year's prediction is. What kind of things do you think are going to happen in the new year? And we will review all of those on Friday, December 31st, 2021, the last day of the year. And also we have the big carrot drop, a lot like the big ball in New York, except for it's a giant carrot, of course. And we will be dropping that on Friday, December 31st, 2021, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central, a show you do not want to miss. Another show you don't want to miss will be Saturday, January 1st, 2022, ringing in the new year. And that's exactly what AJ is going to be doing on the Ripon Rabbit Hole live show, again at 7 p.m. He'll be talking about In with the New and ringing in the new year with all the new things on the table, and maybe New Year's resolutions, if you will. In with the new and out with the old. He'll be discussing, AJ will be discussing that on Saturday. It's January the 1st, 2022. I'm going to have to get used to that. Then on Sunday, January 2nd, 2022, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central, our buddy AJ Ripon Rabbit comes back to the airwaves one last time for the most fun that you can have on radio. That's right, it is Beat Eugene. Come on by and see if you can beat Eugene in the trivia, fun quizzes, puzzles, and games, and have your chance to get to the top of the podium and try to beat Eugene yourself, like My Life DIY did, for instance, last go round last month. Also, being the first of the month, as you guys know, we have two special shows here on the network. We also have Tuesday night videos for 2022. If you'd like to maybe get an idea of the themes for that show, go over to the Ripon Rabbit Hole, click on the on-air live schedule, and see the brand new pick that Champion Sports Nation, or Raider Champion, either name there, has put up over here. Maybe you can get an edge on this time's Tuesday night videos, because remember, right now, I hold the championship belt over there. Can you take it away? Find out Tuesday, January 4th, 2022, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central. This is not an aired broadcast. This is a special show that you have to be in the 24/7 Backstage Lounge on the riponrabbithole.com to participate. So go over there, sign up for that, check out the lounge, and join us Tuesday, January 4th, 2022, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central for Tuesday night videos. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of AJ the Ripon Rabbit, Chick Mandela Effect, Michael Musco, Walt House, everyone at Ripon Common Sense Radio Network, we hope you had an amazing Christmas weekend, and I can't wait to spend this New Year's weekend with you guys. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, remember, stay awake, but dare to dream. That's right. Good night, everybody. How yeah. That's right.
I'm lost and into the dark. Some things are better left unknown. And I'll never find you here, 'cause no one's ever.
Did you guys see where Joe Biden said, "Let's go, Brandon," about himself? Brandon said, "Let's go, Brandon." Can't beat that. Can't make it up.
What a widow, a peaceful spider. When the glass is clean, she's a sneaky hider. Hide the lies and the alibis. Oh, what a sinner, is it in her?
The look on Jill's face is priceless. She's the only one that knew what was going on, because you know Brandon didn't. He's too lost. Wonderland of delusion, you know.
What's the truth in this riddle? Is love really just this simple? I can't seem to find my way in this world that never stays. What a widow, a peaceful spider. When the glass is clean, she's a sneaky hider. Hide the lies and the alibis. What a sinner, is it in her? Is this real? Just illusion?
Biden's lost in a wonderland of confusion. I know I don't sound as good as Chick, but I mean the words make more sense, right? Biden's lost in a wonderland of confusion.
Is this real or just illusion? Manifestation or a dark delusion?
With Joe, it's a dark delusion for sure.
Is this real or just illusion? I'm lost in a wonderland of confusion.
Raider Champion says no, it's Wonderland of Delusion. You know what? I like that better. Wonderland of Delusion. Yes, he is. Let's go, Brandon. That's right. Believe it or not, I'm wearing the Let's Go Brandon shirt right now. Wore it all day. A lot of people complimented me on it. Let's go, Brandon. It's got the FJB on the back, too. Can't beat it. That is the single phrase from 2021, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go, Brandon. With the #1 hashtag being FJB. That's right. Good night, everybody. Check out the new book, Moon Madness, by first-time author J.W. Hicks. Originally conceived in 2015, this fictional novel only becomes more and more relevant by the day. What would you do if you found out that almost everything your government has told you was a lie? In the year 2103, Jeremy Carlson and his fiancée Brittany Parsons decide to take a vacation in a lunar cabin. Everything was going great until strange things started happening after they went to sleep. Are they being abducted, or are they catching moon madness, a strange phenomena thought to be caused by the lower gravity of the moon? After a fateful meeting with a guy named Zach Marshall, things become a whole lot more clear. They are now determined to expose the governing body of the Earth and Moon, known as the World Council. Will the three of them succeed, or will things go horribly wrong? Find out in the great novel, once again, by first-time author J.W. Hicks, called Moon Madness. Available now on Amazon, $12 for paperback, $7 for Kindle. Not adding this to your bookshelf would be madness.